Hi there, let me show you how you can create two beautiful cards using the new Build a Garden Magnificent Brunch stamp set. Hi there, Natalie with you today with a new episode of Inspired by a Card with Natalie, and today is actually a very fun and different one. We are working with the new Build a Garden Magnificent Brunch, and the inspiration is going to come from the pamphlet. That's the one that comes inside of your stamp set. So this is a really, I'm going to say, it's quite a larger stamp set, and it comes with a coloring layering stencil, which is going to help you, create as many flowers as you can really quickly. So my idea is I want to take some of the ideas in the pamphlet and make them into two cards. So let's get started. I'm starting by stamping the entire stamp set, and it's quite big. You're gonna need your stamping platform, a large one if you want to, using black obsidian ink. Very simple. I'm gonna make sure that I add quite a bit of ink because I want to make sure that the image is really crisp. And you're gonna see that I'm not drawing in between. I'm gonna go ahead and start coloring right away. I wanna pull some of the black ink, kind of shade my petals a little bit. So one of the things that you have to be careful is to add a little bit of washi just to cover all the areas that surround the petals that you're coloring. So you have a layering stencils, and they'll come numbered. There's four stencils in this set. And each stencil has different part of the flowers, which is going to help you bring color and make it like more realistic. So all you have to do is just set the stencil in place, make sure it matches to your background, and then just add some ink using your ink blending brushes and the favorite inks that you have. So I'm starting with strawberry. I want that kind of like really soft pink, and like I said, I am gonna pull some of the fresh ink that I stamped just to give it that shaded look. So I am using my small ink blending tool, and I'm using crisp strawberry ink, and I'm just going using the stencils. I'm gonna first color the flowers, and I'm just following the steps that come in your stencil and always in your stamp set just to color my entire flower. So I'm gonna make sure that all my petals have a base of strawberry crisp dye ink. But once I create my first layer, I'm gonna say my first a few petals, the next ones I'm gonna add a little bit extra pink. So I'm gonna use a little bit of pink diamond from some of the petals. Other ones are gonna get a little bit of pinkalicious. I just want to bring that soft shade of pink into that earthy pink that is in a strawberry crisp dye ink. So I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna show you a little bit of what I'm doing, but like I said, I am following the stencil. If you look at your trifold pamphlet, you're gonna see all the steps of you need to color your entire flower. So I'm just following the steps using the inks. Like I said, I'm going to make sure that every one of my petals has a base of strawberry crisp dye ink, and then I'm gonna add a little bit extra of either pink diamond or a little bit of pinkalicious on top of it, just to bring some of that pink, like a really soft pink, onto my flowers. And it's super simple to color. The stencils, like I said, there's four in the set, but each one or each piece of the stencil is a separate group of the petals, and then you have at the end just like a complete flower that's just gonna give you some extra highlights and some shadows, which is gonna make your flower more realistic. Super simple. Now when it comes to the little open flower at the bottom, there's one stencil builds the entire flower, and then you're gonna have a little area that's gonna give you the highlights, or the deep, or not the highlights, but the shadows that make the, the center a little bit darker in color, deepen the color. And also you can create a little I call them pistils, which is the center of the flower, and I'm just using for that misty more. I want something that's a little bit yellowish but kind of on the greenish tones. After that, you're gonna see that stencil number 2 and stencil number 3 are all about your leaves and your branch. So I'm gonna use tones of like a muted green. I'm gonna use marshland. I'm gonna use a sea forest to color my leaves. I want that like a really muted tone for my flowers. I don't want something vibrant. I want something more earthy for them. So I am gonna bring my mini detailing brushes, just because the fine lines, of the leaves are really small, and also by using my smaller ink blending brushes, I'm able to control where the ink is deposited. So I want to make sure that everything else around the area of the flowers remains clean and crisp. So I have better control when I use a smaller brush. So you're gonna see that I'm just detailing everything. Like I said, every single piece of the stamp set, it's in an area, you can find it in an area of the stencil, so that makes it really easy for you to color. And there's also a way to add highlights and shadows. So you're gonna see I've colored my flower, and now I'm gonna cut my branch. I'm gonna cut it into 2 pieces. I'm gonna be careful to take away the big rose, so I'm gonna cut as close as I can to the leaves that go on top of the branch, and then whatever's remaining, which is like the end of the branch with the small flower, I'm gonna trim to make the front panel of one of the cards. So I'm following in a way what is already an example of the pamphlet. Very simple. I'm gonna set that aside to completely dry the ink, and while that is happening, I'm gonna go ahead and start fussy cutting the big rose with all those leaves. And you're gonna see that I'm gonna be very careful to go as close as I can to the edge of the flower. I'm gonna leave a tiny, super tiny offset. I want to make sure that I keep it as clean. This stamp comes with a stencil and does not come with a die. It's quite a big of, it would have been a big large die. So instead, it's super simple to fussy cut though. So like I said, I took my time, fussy cut, even used an X-Acto knife to take the white pieces from the middle, and I'm gonna set that aside to completely dry. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring a little bit of shine right now to the little card panel that I created. So you're gonna see that I'm bringing my gel pen, I'm using the gold, and I'm just gonna go to the little centers of the pistils of the center of the small flower. Once I have that, I'm gonna use one of the sentiments that comes in the Build a Garden Magnificent Branch just to add the sentiment on the card panel. I'm using black Obsidian ink for that. Once that is ready, I'm actually going to add a little bit of foam adhesive behind my card panel, and then I'm going to attach it to an A2 card so that it's going to be a little bit of a frame around the card panel that I created. And just to finish that, I'm going to bring a few gems, some soft shades of pink, and a little bit like something really shiny but in really soft pink, just to bring some more pop of shine onto my page. Simple as that. Like I said, the stamp, it's large enough that it will give you 2, even 3 cards out of it, and it's super simple once you have your layering and stencil to color your flower. So you're gonna see right now the highlights of what the card looks like. Now I'm gonna show you my second card. Remember the big rose that I fussy cut? I went ahead outside of the camera and actually cut I used the reflection die, sorry, to cut a little piece to create the die cut. I'm also using the rounded rectangles die set to create the largest rectangle. Now I am using, there's like these are really creamish tones of cardstock for this. My idea is I'm gonna glue the reflection die cut straight onto the larger rectangle, sorry, the rounded rectangle die cut that I have, and then I'm gonna cut all the X's. I want to have the rounded rectangle with the reflection die on top of it, so it's going to create like a texture rounded rectangle, and that's going to be the back for my flower. The flower in itself that comes from the Build a Garden Magnificent Branch. Remember, I fussy cut the flower. It's large, it's luscious, it's full of this greenery, so I wanted something just to give it more of that emphasis. So I'm creating this so that it creates the background and makes the flower the focus of my page. So I'm using the same cardstock that I used for the reflection die for the panel. Now for my sentiment, I want something really delicate, so I went and pulled the Handwritten Hello Die Set, and I cut the word hello out of shimmer cardstock and the back, the shadow, out of vellum. Right now all I'm doing is I'm gonna add some of the dimensional foam adhesive from Altenew behind the flower, and then I'm gonna glue it right on top of the rounded rectangle. I want to make sure that my leaves are coming off the rectangle, and then I'm gonna glue that rounded rectangle, I'm gonna say, to the center of my card, to my card panel, sorry. That means that some of the leaves are gonna be coming off the card panel, and that's okay. That's the way I want it. I want that rose to be like the focus of my page. All I'm gonna do after that is glue my sentiment at the bottom of the page and then glue it to my card panel. Simple as that. I created 2 cards with 1 single stamp set, and the inspiration came from the inside pamphlet of the Build a Garden Magnificent Branch. And I hope you enjoy it. You can go now to the blog and then just join in the blog hub and get some more ideas on how you can create different projects with this new stamp set. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you soon.
Hello crafters, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching!